What's up, everybody? Nico Dwyer back for the 10th inning, here with another episode of This Day in Sports History. In yesterday's episode, we saw Babe Ruth become the first Major League Baseball player to ever hit 600 home runs. We don't have a home run milestone to talk about today, but we do have a strikeout milestone to talk about today, some world records to get into, and some more Olympic Games to talk about. So if y'all enjoy this video, leave a like on it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Let's get to it. This Day in Sports History. And we will start off today in 1851 at the inaugural America's Cup running, which was renamed later to the 100 Guinness Cup of 1851, and the U.S. Schooner would defeat the British Aurora by 24 minutes to claim the first victory. Over to tennis now in 1885 at the U.S. National Championship on the men's side, Richard Sears would win his 5th of 7 U.S. Open single titles and 7 Grand Slam single titles, defeating Godfrey M. Brindley 6-3, 4-6, 6-0, 6-3. Then in Major League Baseball in 1892, Ben Sanders of the Louisville Colonels would no-hit the Baltimore Orioles in a 6-2 victory for the Colonels. For the Colonels, there were a plethora of errors on that day and some walks for Sanders, keeping him from that no-hitter, but the important part is they got the win. 6 years later, we go back to the U.S. National Championship on the men's side in 1898, and Malcolm Whitman would win his first of 3 straight U.S. single titles, defeating Dwight F. Davis 3-6, 6-2, 6-2, 6-1. Now we move all the way up to 1954 in Formula One, and Juan Manuel Fangio would clinch his second F1 World Drivers' Championship after winning the Swiss Grand Prix, and this would be his first of 4 straight championships, and his second of 5 overall. 3 years later, we go to 1957, and in his first professional bout, Olympic heavyweight boxing champion Pete Rademacher would become the first to contest the world title in his first bout, but he would be knocked out by Floyd Patterson in the 6th round, in Patterson's second defense of the title. Again, we have a big leap now. We go to 1985 at the 30th edition of the Walker Cup. The USA would defeat the British Isles 13-11 to claim their 27th of 37 victories. Over to that strikeout milestone now. In 1989, Nolan Ryan would strike out his 5,000th batter. It would be Rickey Henderson. Until this day, he is the only player in MLB history with over 5,000 strikeouts. 2 years later, we have a world record to talk about in 1991, and Christina Egursegi would swim the 100-meter backstroke world record in 1 minute 0.31 seconds, a record that would stand for nearly 3 years. Over to rugby in 1998, South Africa would defeat Australia 29-15 to win their first Tri-Nations Rugby Series with an unbeaten record. Now we get into the Olympics, and we start in Athens in 2004 at the marathon. Mizuki Noguchi of Japan would win on the women's side in 2 hours, 26 minutes, 20 seconds. Then in the men's 100-meter dash, American Justin Gatlin would win the gold in 9.85 seconds. We move over to tennis now in those games, and after winning the doubles tennis gold medal, Chile's Nicolas Masu would win the men's singles 6-3, 3-6, 2-6, 6-3, 6-4 over American Marty Fish. Then in the women's singles on the tennis side, Justine Henin of Belgium would win 6-3, 6-3 in straight sets over Amélie Mauresmo of France. Finally in those games, the rowing program would end with the United States winning the men's 8s and Romania taking the gold in the women's 8s. 3 years later, we moved to 2007, get into Major League Baseball, and this is kind of funny to me because if you haven't heard the news around the MLB, well, he broke the unwritten rule, Fernando Tatis Jr., for swinging 3-0, hitting a grand slam, and the team they were facing was the Texas Rangers. Well, in 2007, you should say the Texas Rangers broke some unwritten rules too. The Rangers would rout the Baltimore Orioles 30-3, and it would be the most runs scored by a team in modern MLB history. Not only did they win 30-3, but they ended up scoring 16 runs in the last 2 innings. Horrid game for the Baltimore Orioles. 1 year later, we go to the Beijing Olympics in 2008, and we start in the men's 4x100 meter. The Jamaican team had originally won and smashed the world record, but they would be disqualified in 2017 after Nesta Carter tested positive for a prohibited substance. Therefore, Trinidad and Tobago would end up getting the gold medal. We have a theme going now, and we move over to the women's 4x100 meter relay. And Russia would originally win ahead of Belgium and Nigeria, but they would be disqualified in 2016 when reanalysis of Yulia Chermoshankaya's sample results would test positive for a prohibited substance, therefore giving Belgium the gold medal. We stay in track and move over to the women's long jump, and Marihiga Maji of Brazil would win at 7.04 meters. Then we move over to the women's 5K, and Ethiopian Tirunesh Dibata would win in 15 minutes 41.4 seconds to claim the gold. Go over to the pole vault now, and Stephen Hooker of Australia would win with an Olympic record of 5.96 meters. Now we get into the decathlon in 2008, and American Brian Clay would win 4 of the 10 events to take the gold medal with 8,791 points. Then we move over to BMX, and Anne-Caroline Chaussin of France would win the women's BMX in its inaugural running, and Maris Stromberg of Latvia would win the men's inaugural event. 1 year later, we moved to the 2009 World Athletics Championships, and Jamaica would avenge their disqualification of the 2008 Olympics when they would set a world record 37.31 seconds in the men's 4x100 meter relay. Move up 1 year to 2010 at the Tradition Senior Men's Golf Tournament. Fred Funk at 12 under would win his last of 3 Champions Tour majors, 1 stroke ahead of runners-up Michael Allen and Shane Su Lu. We end today's video off in 2015, and the 15th edition of the Athletics World Championships would open up in Beijing, China. So there you have it. That's what happened on this day in sports history. If I left anything out, I do apologize, but I'll see everybody tomorrow for Nick O'Dwyer and the 10th inning. Stay good, everybody. See ya.